Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Sophia. Good to see you again if you haven't been for a while. Don't forget to subscribe, to leave a comment, and to share a little bit of your experience. So, without further ado, let's get started. If you ever heard European Portuguese for the first time, you probably thought one of these three things. Well, that sounds Russian. That can't be a Romance language. Or are they even pronouncing the vowels? And honestly, fair enough, because European Portuguese has a reputation among language learners for sounding compressed, mumbled, and almost impossible to understand, even for Brazilians who already speak Portuguese. But here is the weird part. Underneath all that chaos, it's actually one of the most logical Romance languages in Europe. Today, we are breaking down why European Portuguese sounds so different, why it resembles Slavic languages to many listeners, why Brazilians sometimes struggle with it, and the hidden linguistic rules that make it all make sense. So let's go into it. First, I want to talk about the vowels disappearing. The biggest reason European Portuguese sounds impossible is simple. The vowels vanish. In many Romance languages like Spanish or Italian, vowels are loud, clear, and fully pronounced. For example,
Spanish, para hablar, Italian, come stai,
every syllable gets its moment, but European Portuguese does something very different. It reduces unstressed vowels so aggressively that entire syllables almost disappear. For example, pequeno. For example, verdade. To non-native ears, this creates a sound that feels compressed and consonant heavy. That's why people compare it to Russian or Polish. Not because the grammar is similar, but because the rhythm is. European Portuguese packs sounds together in a way that most Romance languages don't. Something I also want to talk about is the mouth laziness effect. Linguistics call it the vowel reduction. But in practical terms, what does this mean? Portugal basically speed run efficient speech. Over centuries, speakers shorten unstressed sounds more and more. So instead of obrigado, you might hear something closer to brigat. And words blend together constantly. Native speakers don't hear this as unclear. To them, it's smooth and natural. But learners expect every letter to be pronounced clearly. European Portuguese says absolutely not. Why, for many people, Brazilian Portuguese sounds easier? Brazilian Portuguese keeps vowels much more open and musical. Words stretch more, and syllables are clearer. Even when saying the same phrase, Brazilian Portuguese tends to preserve more sound information. That's why many learners start with Brazilian Portuguese first. It feels easier to decode. European Portuguese, on the other hand, often sounds like words are colliding into each other at high speed. And this leads to a funny situation. Many Brazilians can understand Portuguese people, but struggle to imitate the accent. Meanwhile, Portuguese people usually understand Brazilian Portuguese very easy because Brazil speaks more phonetically open, Portugal speaks more compressed. Another reason European Portuguese sounds unusual is the sh sound that appears constantly. For example, the letter S at the end of a syllable often becomes sh. So, Português sounds closer to Português. This gives the language that soft, hissy texture people associate with Eastern European languages. Add that to the swallowed vowels, and suddenly a Romance language that starts sounding strangely Slavic. Here is the ironic part. European Portuguese sounds chaotic, but actually it's very systematic. The reductions follow patterns. The stress rules are consistent. The pronunciation changes are predictable once you learn them. Native speakers aren't mumbling them randomly. Your brain just hasn't learned which sounds matter yet. And once learners cross that barrier, European Portuguese suddenly becomes much clearer. It's like tuning into a radio frequency. At first, it sounds like static. Then one day, your brain locks in. Why people love the sound? Despite its reputation for being difficult, a lot of people absolutely love how European Portuguese sounds. Some describe it as cinematic, mysterious, melancholic, elegant. There is a softness to it, but also sharpness. It flows in a way that feels completely different from Spanish, Italian, or French. And that uniqueness is exactly why linguistics and language learners find it fascinating. It's a Romance language that evolved its own rhythm. So, no, European Portuguese isn't impossible. Your ears just aren't used to a Romance language that hides its vowels like a secret. But once you understand the patterns, the language transforms from noise into music. And honestly, that transformation is part of the fun. So, what language sounded impossible to you at first? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more videos about language, accents, and weird linguistics evolution. If you haven't, check my website and subscribe to the newsletter so you stay updated to the upcoming courses, but also to all the curiosities that I share about my passion for my own native language. I hope this helped. Don't forget, even just to say hi so I know you are there. Thank you for staying until the end, and I hope to see you again. Até já!